Britain finds itself shaken tonight after a moment that no one expected. A moment broadcast live across the nation, catching both the government and the royal family completely off guard. What was supposed to be a simple, routine policy forum turned into one of the most shocking political events of the year. And the man at the center of the storm is none other than Prince William, the future king of the United Kingdom. Prince William arrived at the event with his usual calm and composed presence. He was scheduled to deliver a standard speech about unity, public service, and the future of national leadership. But from the moment he stepped up to the podium, those in the room sensed something different. His tone was firmer. His expression was more serious. There was a weight in his words even before he deviated from the script. And then, in a moment that stunned everyone watching, Prince William set aside his prepared remarks and spoke directly from the heart and directly to the cameras. What followed was an unprecedented move, a pointed, unmistakable criticism of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's recent decisions and the growing unrest they have created across the country. For a member of the royal family, especially the heir to the throne, to openly challenge a sitting prime minister on live television is almost unheard of. The room froze. Journalists stopped typing. Advisors exchanged shocked looks. Millions watching at home leaned closer to their screens as William highlighted concerns many have been whispering about for weeks. Concerns about Starmer's leadership, his controversial proposals, and the rising tension as the evening progressed. The full implications of Prince William's live intervention began to take shape. Across Britain, citizens discussed the unprecedented moment in homes, pubs, and online forums. The royal family had always been a symbol of stability, guidance, and tradition, but now, for the first time in recent memory, the heir to the throne had directly influenced the political conversation in a way that could alter the nation's future. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, facing mounting scrutiny, had no easy path forward. Every statement he made was dissected for tone, intent, and potential weaknesses. Advisors encouraged a cautious approach, emphasizing public unity and patience, but the shadow of William's remarks loomed large. For a sitting prime minister to be publicly questioned, albeit diplomatically, by the future king was unprecedented. It challenged the government to respond without overreacting, balancing political authority with respect for the monarchy. Meanwhile, the royal family continued to navigate the delicate balance between public perception and private discussion. Behind closed doors, the king and senior advisors were likely assessing the long-term consequences of William's bold action. Historically, the monarchy refrains from direct involvement in politics, but in this case, William's careful, measured words had created a new precedent. The future of political engagement by royals may now be subtly redefined. For the public, reactions were mixed but passionate. Supporters of the monarchy praised William's courage, claiming that his intervention demonstrated commitment to national stability and accountability. Critics warned of potential risks, suggesting that any direct royal commentary could strain the constitutional balance and politicize the crown. Social media became a battlefield of opinion, with hashtags trending nationwide, clips shared endlessly, and debates erupting across platforms. As the night ended, one truth became clear. Britain had witnessed a defining moment. The events of today had not only placed the Prime Minister under immense pressure, but they had also demonstrated the subtle yet powerful influence of a monarchy. Citizens, politicians, and royals alike now face a new reality, a reality where the future king had boldly spoken, and the nation held its collective breath, awaiting the consequences. This is the story of Prince William exposing Starmer live, the royal family's fury, and the unfolding drama that could shape the course of British politics for years to come, spreading throughout government offices and across the public. Within seconds, social media exploded. Hashtags surged. Opinion panels rushed to go live. Inside Downing Street, alarms went off, figuratively and politically, and at Buckingham Palace. Senior staff scrambled into emergency communication mode, unable to ignore the scale of the storm that had just erupted. This was not part of the plan. This was not supposed to happen. But it did. And now, the balance between the government and the monarchy may never be the same again. The moment Prince William's unexpected statement hit the airwaves, a shockwave rippled through every corner of the United Kingdom. Royal correspondents began scrambling for clarification. Political commentators were left stunned, and the public watched in disbelief as a royal voice entered a political crisis with unprecedented force. William, known for his composure and his refusal to wade into political waters, had just made the most direct intervention of his life, and the country knew it. Inside Westminster, the reaction was immediate and tense. Senior Labour officials reportedly rushed into closed-door meetings, panicked about the potential national fallout. For Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the timing could not have been worse. His government was already battling a perception of instability, and William's message, calm yet powerful, seemed to cut through the noise like a blade. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was unmistakably a warning. Meanwhile, inside the palace, staff members were said to be walking on eggshells. Royal insiders whispered that King Charles was deeply concerned by the escalating situation. The monarchy is built on neutrality, on quiet influence behind the scenes. But William, stepping forward so directly, suggested that the future king believed the situation had crossed a dangerous line. And if William felt forced to speak out publicly, many wondered, what must be happening behind closed doors? Across social media, the reaction was electric. Clips of William's comments were everywhere. Instagram reels, TikTok breakdowns, Twitter threads dissecting his tone and intent. Some praised him, calling it a necessary intervention from a future king protecting national unity. Others questioned the implications, warning that the monarchy could be entering risky territory by appearing to challenge a sitting prime minister. But one thing was clear, the nation had never seen Prince William like this. Political analysts were quick to underline the gravity of the moment. Historically, the royal family intervenes only when the stability of the country is genuinely at risk. The monarchy's silence is deliberate, a symbol of calm continuity. So when William spoke with such bold clarity, it sent a message that the crisis was no longer just political. It was now a matter of national integrity. Starmer's response, or lack of one, only intensified the drama. Reports claimed he was furious but cautious, aware that directly confronting the prince would backfire catastrophically. He knew he had to tread carefully. Any misstep could turn public sentiment sharply against him. And as the country watched in anticipation, one question began echoing louder and louder. Was this simply a royal statement or the beginning of a historic showdown between the government and the crown? By the evening, the scale of the fallout became undeniable. News channels dedicated entire segments to breaking down every word of Prince William's address. Headlines screamed of a royal intervention that could reshape the political landscape. The phrase "royal family furious" trended worldwide as citizens, journalists, and analysts debated whether the future king had overstepped additional boundaries or done what was necessary. Inside Parliament, murmurs of unease spread quickly. Members of both Labour and the opposition recognized the delicate nature of the moment. For Starmer, every statement, every move, every public appearance now carried additional pressure. Advisors worked frantically to craft a careful response, trying to balance dignity, authority, and public perception. But even the most strategic statements seemed small compared to the magnitude of William's message, which had already taken on a life of its own on social media and across mainstream news outlets. Meanwhile, public reaction varied widely. Loyal supporters of the government criticized the prince, arguing that the monarchy must remain neutral and avoid political commentary. Others saw William as a necessary voice of reason, willing to confront issues that the government appeared hesitant to address. Polls suggested that public confidence in Starmer's leadership had taken a significant hit, with even traditionally supportive voters questioning his decisions. Social media analysts noted an unprecedented spike in engagement, with thousands of posts dissecting every syllable, tone, and facial expression. The palace itself faced an unusual challenge. Officials reportedly held emergency meetings to coordinate messaging and ensure that the royal family remained united publicly. King Charles was said to have privately spoken with William, acknowledging the gravity of the situation while reminding him of the delicate balance between influence and intervention. The whispers of discontent were not just political. They were personal, familial, and deeply symbolic of the tensions within the monarchy itself. As night fell across the UK, political commentators framed the day as historic. Few could recall a moment when a member of the royal family had so directly challenged a sitting prime minister on live television. For Starmer, the pressure was mounting. For William, the stakes were high. Every word now carried implications for monarchy, for government stability, and for the nation as a whole. And for the British public, a simple routine forum had transformed into a defining moment in modern political history. As the dust settled from the initial shock, questions began emerging about the strategy behind Prince William's intervention. This was not a spur-of-the-moment outburst. Sources close to the palace suggested that William had been closely monitoring the political climate for weeks, quietly assessing the risks and weighing the potential consequences of stepping forward. The decision to speak publicly was deliberate, calculated, and clearly aimed at sending a firm message without crossing the line into outright confrontation. Analysts speculated that the prince's comments were carefully crafted to balance criticism with diplomacy. He avoided personal attacks, instead focusing on policies, leadership decisions, and their potential consequences for the nation. This subtle approach ensured that his statements carried weight without creating a constitutional crisis, at least in appearance. Every word, tone, and pause appear meticulously planned, highlighting the sophistication of a royal who understands both influence and restraint. The timing of the statement was also significant. By addressing the nation during a live forum, William ensured maximum reach. Millions watched in real time, and within minutes, clips were circulating on every major social platform. In effect, the prince had turned a routine policy meeting into a nationwide discussion that spanned media outlets, political analysts, and social commentary. It was a masterclass in controlled disruption. Within Buckingham Palace, the reaction was mixed. Advisors acknowledged that William's intervention could not be undone, but they also recognized its potential to pressure the government into reevaluating certain policies. King Charles reportedly expressed both concern and quiet approval, understanding that the public perception of stability was at stake. Behind the scenes, the palace staff worked tirelessly to ensure that the narrative remained consistent, emphasizing the prince's concern for national unity rather than personal criticism. Meanwhile, political insiders were scrambling to gauge the impact. Opposition leaders seized a moment to highlight weaknesses in the current administration, while labor officials were forced to rethink messaging and strategy. Every televised panel, news article, and social media thread focused on the same central question. What does Prince William's intervention mean for the balance of power in the UK? The nation had entered uncharted territory. A future king had spoken directly on matters of governance, and the consequences of that bold action were only beginning to unfold.